scheduled presentation is an awards presentation, and Terry Redding had prepared this, and Terry rushed across the country. He was going to be here, and he rushed back to Florida to try to salvage his home in the face of the threat of a hurricane. So Terry isn't here to present it, but he sent his presentation to Steve Preston. And so Steve, we're going to ask you to take over.
You want to do it, or you want me to? Yeah. Okay. I'm back. Whenever you're ready, go ahead. So, 2 awards. So this is the intro that I think from last year that you put together as well. I just included this in, just why we want to do these awards, recognize what people have done and provide a little, and also to some extent provide some motivation for everybody. Next slide. 2 awards. First is the DeBall Award, named after Homer DeBall, an early member of IOTA, I guess founding officer, and worked with David and others to pull IOTA together early on. Next slide. These are the previous awardees. We're getting up there now. Got a few of them. Next slide. So now this year we're presenting it to the various regional coordinators for asteroid occultation reports. So these are the folks that do all the work behind the scenes when you send in reports for asteroid occultations. John Talbot and Steve Kerr in Australia, Eric Frappa in Europe, Mr. Hayamizu in Japan, and Brad here covering most of the North American reports. And so we decided this year it'd be appropriate, rather than try to pick individuals, we just say, all right, give the award to all these regional coordinators in recognition of all the work they've done so far and continue to do. A lot of work there for this. Now we get pictures. Now we get pictures. John Talbot, sent a photo. Steve Kerr, Eric, and Sumo Hayamizu. And Mr. Hayamizu also sent some words and thanks and recognition. Said, I never imagined that the big award would be given to me. Perhaps this will be the heaviest honor for my life. The reason for this prize is leadership in regional coordination of asteroid occultations, continuing contributions of occultation measurements. And I would like to thank Japanese occultation observers for this award, and I say congratulations to Brad, Eric, John, and Steve, who win the prize together. Observational occultation stands out as a field where amateurs contribute to astronomy, especially Japan is a small country, but it is a good region for the observation of occultations because Japan has a long area from north to south and many excellent observers. Japan is also located at an important position because the USA, Europe, and Japan can cooperate with each other to cover the whole sky of the northern hemisphere. Also in the future, Japan should continue to play an important part. I would like to make an effort to play that part too. I wish I could receive this award with Takashi Sadaguchi, who died young 2 years ago because he provided predictions of many important occultation events for us, and he taught me how to analyze occultation observations. I would like to respect him for his achievement and share the thanks of winning the prize. Okay. Next slide. And Brad. Thank you. So then the next award. Yeah, thanks. Thanks to everybody for all the work. So the Laird Award is our second award that was set up a little after the first, and this is aimed to recognize contributions more than 15 years ago, kind of to cover a lot of the people who were very active before, but maybe not as active now. And so we wanted to still recognize some of these people who have put a lot of, some who are still active, but maybe not. Okay, next slide. So these are the previous awardees of the Laird Award. Next slide. This year's award is Walt. Hey. Thank you, Walt. Did you say you wanted to say something or not? No. You'll pass? Okay. All right, okay. You're here.
The trick here is to get the right distance from the camera. Is that about right? I thought this was an opportunity to give a little history on many people are familiar with and some aren't. Like so many, I was interested in the sky a lot. When I moved to Las Vegas and could see the sky every night, I really changed my interest. It wasn't long until somebody mentioned that somebody made predictions about something called occultations. I borrowed a telescope, someplace got a prediction, and one night I saw a star disappear behind the moon. Boy, I was hooked. And so through the years, picked up equipment, was timing with a WWV and a stopwatch and whatnot. Got an audio tape recorder, finally got into the video version. Early in there, somehow David got me to become the standard station predictor. He had a number of standard stations, and the notice that appeared in January Sky and Telescope would list my name and address. People would write to me, and I'd send the predictions. They were not high accuracy, but good enough, and they could specify how bright a star they wanted to see and so on. Well, the thing that would happen there was I'd start to get these requests in late December because a magazine was out, and I knew that my Sky and Telescope was about due. I'd have the request from back east before my copy of the magazine would arrive. Then I progressed on to becoming a regional computer, and that was calculating the grazes for people based on information from the Naval Observatory that David would send me. And the key thing to that was do it 4 times a year, and the postage bill was typically $60. And I was just one of several people. I calculated 6 regions, I think, and other people calculated regions, so several of us were spending like $60 4 times a year for postage. And nowadays, we don't do that. It's a real change. The big breakthrough marked in the early 1990s when David Harold came up with Occult, and for a while I was distributing Occult on 4 floppy disks. And now you see what it is today. It's progressed a long way. The first IOTA meeting I went to was in Houston in 1983. That was a meeting when IOTA incorporated as a nonprofit organization. And the thing that's memorable to me, that weekend was my wife's birthday. When I got home, there was a new car in the garage. I'd missed her birthday, but she didn't miss the birthday present. And it was one of the best cars I've ever had. We liked it. Another comment I'd make is in parallel with this avocation, which has really absorbed me, I also had a profession as a physicist, and it involves such things as measuring and controlling the jet engine noise on the B-52. One result of that was an estimated factor of 20 reduction in the time to failure of wing components, and that airplane's still flying after 60 years. Another part of my career was involved in measuring the gamma and neutron emission from nuclear explosives. That was a very satisfying thing. But the kind of thing of occultations is equally satisfying to me. And in both cases, I found I'm associated with people who are very competent and dedicated, and it's been a big part of satisfaction. One big difference is the level of funding. Okay.
Thanks again, and congratulations to the awardees.